Bill, I appreciate you telling a lot of your stories from your business experience because I know I've learned a lot from it. And you tell a story about one story I remember about another company that you had a bad relationship with. No, you didn't have a bad relationship with them, but they did with you. They wouldn't even acknowledge that you existed, and yet I guess you would say, you rose above the criticism. And tell me this story and what you learned from it, and what the outcome was for them.
I didn't know how vicious people could be when they thought there was going to be competition for the business in their area. When I opened my company up, all I wanted to do was open the company up and make a living, because that was something I was skilled at, was calling people about past due accounts. Well, when I decided to open my company up, I had a friend that I'd made in the city that said, well, I have a building that's empty, and he told me where it was, and he said, you can rent it very inexpensively. Well, it happened to be right next door to the Credit Bureau of Anderson, Indiana. And I never thought anything about that, but they became very bitter because I opened up a collection company that was going to compete with them. And I mean, here I am. They've been in business for years, and I'm just starting out. I'm not thinking I'm competing with them. I'm thinking I'll get their scraps. They were so bitter about this that we called a customer one time that owed us money, and it was pouring rain that day. The customer comes to pay us, and after about an hour or so, he didn't come in. So we called him back and said, hey, I thought you were going to come in and pay us right away. He said, well, I came in to pay you, but the people told me that you were out of business, that you didn't exist. Now, I never ever dreamed someone would say things like that, but he had gone next door, and they denied we were even had a business right next door to them. So it inconvenienced the customer. The customer came in and paid us, and of course it made them look very bad. Well, what I wanted to do was to get back at those people. That was what my emotion said, but my logic said that's not common sense. Any energy I waste on trying to get back at someone is going to cost me money. It's going to be wasted energy. Plus, bitterness will eat you up. In fact, I went to a state meeting of collectors, which I joined a state association, and this man who ran this business was there. He wouldn't even shake hands with me. Now, I had never had a conversation with this person. He had no reason to be bitter at me. He was just mad because I was in competition with him. And what I found out was that sometimes people can be very bitter when you're going to compete with them. And I don't believe that makes common sense. You see, I had rather work with the competition and help them grow their business at the same time that I grow mine. I have the opinion that if you're doing a good job, there's plenty of business for everybody. So let's make a bigger pie rather than worry about getting the whole pie and it being very small. So I've used that rule in business practice in the companies I work with. Never knock the competition. Never try to put them out of business. Try to make it a win-win for everybody.